Hello, and welcome to NMMI's YouTube Live event. I'm Brigadier General Boris McBurnett, NMMI's President and Superintendent. Whether you're streaming from Roswell or from around the world, we are thrilled to have you here. During this live event, I encourage you to ask questions and to share your comments with us. I hope this event reveals more about our great institution, and I invite you to join us for future events. Let's get started.
Good afternoon. I am Lieutenant Colonel Carl Harness, the Professor of Military Science for the Senior Reserve Officer Training Corps here at the New Mexico Military Institute. In tonight's YouTube Live event, we'll be introducing you to several of our cadets and our recruiting officer to talk specifically about the ROTC program here at the New Mexico Military Institute. At the New Mexico Military Institute, we're actually celebrating 135 years of excellence at this school, which was founded in 1891. Here at the New Mexico Military Institute is where duty becomes honor and honor becomes achievement. Now, the senior military or the senior ROTC here at the Institute is known as the Gary Owen Squadron. And I often get asked, well, what does that mean? Who is Gary Owen? In fact, there's many times I'm always asked, who is Gary Owen? Well, Gary Owen comes from the 1st Squadron 7th Cavalry, with which the ROTC program has an affiliation. In fact, we sent 6 cadets to a spur ride where those cadets earned their spurs with the 1st Squadron 7th Cavalry at Fort Hood, Texas, previously last year. It's also a song that's affiliated with General Custer, who was a big fan of it. He was in charge of the 7th Cavalry, and so they adopted it as their official song, and it's now the official song of the United States Army Cavalry in Armor. And so we've adopted that, and we specifically adopted that because at the New Mexico Military Institute, the senior ROTC program just celebrated its birthday of 3 January 1921 when we officially became a cavalry-specific ROTC program back when ROTCs were oriented to specific branches. And so that has us celebrating 105 years of cavalry tradition at the New Mexico Military Institute. So we're extremely proud to share this with you, and we're looking forward to the conversations and hope you get a better understanding of our program here as we get chatting. So now at this time, let me go ahead and introduce you to our folks who are on the YouTube Live event tonight. And so we'll start off with our Cadet Squadron Commander, Cadet Juliana Lopez. Ma'am, if you would be so kind as to introduce yourself to everybody out there in YouTube Live.
Hi, I'm Cadet Colonel Lopez. I'm from Carlsbad, New Mexico originally, but came to the school 6 years ago for this ECP program. The opportunities that you get here, well, it's helped me become the leader that I want to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Juliana. So if I can go ahead and have Cadet Sardo, please introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. My name is Cadet Sardo. I'm originally from California, and the reason I came to NMMI was because I've always wanted to join the Army, and this was a great opportunity to carry out my career. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. And Cadet Mendoza, please introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I am Cadet Mendoza. I am from Norwalk, California, and the reason why I joined NMMI is to become a better leader and to join the world's greatest fighting force, the United States Army.
Awesome. Thank you, Cadet Mendoza. And Cadet Patterson, please, sir, introduce yourself.
Thank you, sir. I'm Cadet Patterson. I came here from Greenville, South Carolina, and I came here to expand my leadership and become an officer in the United States Army. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, Cadet Patterson. And then Mr. Garcia, sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yes, good evening. I'm Mr. Jason Garcia. I'm the Recruiting Operations Officer for the Gary Owen Squadron. I've been here for a few years, and I'm also an alum of this program and of NMMI. I will be your direct contact as you show interest and apply to NMMI specifically for the ROTC program. And so you'll probably receive a phone call and or many emails so where we have a dialogue and prepare you to join this program. I'm glad that you were able to join us this evening.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, sir. And then just a little quick bit about myself. Again, Lieutenant Colonel Harness. I am also from California. I've got a lot of Californians on the net today. Originally from Riverside, California, son of an Army officer as well, and also an alum of the program here. I commissioned in 2000 out of the New Mexico Military Institute. So with that, again, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll go ahead and get started. So first, I'd like to let's talk with Cadet Lopez. How would you explain the early commissioning program to somebody that's new to it or is unfamiliar with it, in your perspective?
Well, the early commissioning program, it's just like a 4-year program that you'd find at any other college, but we do it in 2 years. So it is very fast paced. You are living the experience here at NMMI because you are living on campus. You're not really getting away from it. But you get a lot of opportunities, and again, it's just very fast paced. It's at any time of the day. We have our labs, and really it's just a fast paced program. It's same as any other 4-year, but we do it in 2.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I like to sell people that, you cadets do more in 1 year than most cadets do in 3. And it's quite an achievement that you guys do. So with that, and being such an accelerated program, Cadet Sardo, would you be so kind as to kind of explain, what made you confident in that you could actually accomplish this expedited path to become an Army officer?
Yes, sir. So the type of cadets that will excel here at the program are the type of cadets that are competent. They can take information and process information well. Also the type of cadet that is self-oriented and self-driven. So you need to have motivation to keep yourself moving because this is not an easy program, but it is very rewarding. And then you also need to be willing to take in a lot of information in a very short amount of time, right? You need to be able to have that sort of motivation to keep yourself driving and have that willingness to learn.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I guess for Cadet Mendoza, so we've got this expedited program that we've done. It takes, 2 years to become a commissioned officer. You kind of rushing in and drinking from the fire hose right when you get into the program and going through a full year of trying to get ready for advanced camp. At what point did you realize that this experience at New Mexico Military Institute was different?
So being a cadet, both in the squadron and the Corps of Cadets, I would say time management, dealing with the ROTC, the Corps, as well as academics. So come here to the Institute, like what Cadet Sardo said as well. What other cadets learn in 4 years, we learn in 2 years. So somebody who's willing to learn and give it their all, right place, right time, right uniform, it's very rewarding being here at the Institute. As time goes on, you learn day by day, and that progress will definitely uphold when you become a commissioned officer, sir.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. For Cadet Patterson, so when we talk about leadership, here at the Corps of Cadets, you got rank in the Corps of Cadets, you've got rank in the squadron, you'll eventually seek to get a commission. But what does leadership that you learn here at the New Mexico Military Institute, and specifically within the ROTC program, what does that kind of mean beyond the rank and the title that comes with it to you?
Yes, sir. So beyond the rank and the title of having leadership is actually leading by example, I feel. You can always command people to do stuff, but by actually leading by example, you are in turn showing people how to do it the right way. And that's how I feel.
Okay. So I want to kind of work a little bit more with that. So for Cadet Patterson, you're in the MS3 year, so you are actually starting the program. I know you've got a semester under your belt, and I believe you'll be going to advanced camp this summer. But can you walk us through what a typical day here looks like for you between balancing the Corps and the ROTC and then practicing your leadership skills while you're here?
Yes, sir. So a typical day here at NMMI, at 4:30 we wake up and we go to physical training in the morning, which is 5 to 6 a.m. After that, we have time to shower and get ready for the day. When we have formation for NMMI or NMMI, we then go to formation so that way we can go to breakfast together. And then we come back to our rooms, go off to school, which is between 8:15 and 3:45. You have a few classes, you're not always there the whole time. And then after that, it's normally more free to your time, except for Wednesdays for ROTC cadets, we have labs.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And so with that, I guess being one of the newer cadets here, because we've got several old cadets on the line. You're the newest one. What was the hardest adjustment for you when you got here?
Yes, sir. The hardest adjustment for me personally was coming straight from basic and AIT. It was a lot different from how enlisted side is. Enlisted side, you're more of a number and you are directed to do stuff. Whereas here at NMMI, it is you are getting hands-on experience and you are more than a number. You are an actual person and they take their time to teach and build you up instead of tear you down.
Okay, no, that's awesome. And I'm going to pick on you a little bit more because we got a good question here in the chat. How would you describe your academic life as you've gotten here as a cadet, Cadet Patterson?
Yes, sir. My academic life has been great here so far, sir. So in high school, I actually struggled a little bit, but by coming here, there's so many programs that can help. We have night study hall 5 times throughout the week, every night, and that really helps you. There's also teachers here early in the morning or sometimes in the afternoon, which gives cadets times to go and get help directly from teachers. And there's also peer tutoring where we can get help from one another who have taken the class before or who might be in the class who are doing a little bit better than us. And we can just get help all we need. My grades have been really good, sir.
Awesome, thank you. And I want to pass the ball over to Cadet Lopez. So I know you're extremely busy. You're not just the squadron commander for the ROTC squadron, but you're also the regimental commander. And so when it comes to the academics in the school, how has that been challenging for you, and how have you managed it? And then, how do you feel it's preparing you for life beyond the Institute here?
Being here at NMMI, especially this year, holding so many positions, it's really tested my balancing skills, especially with time management. It was mentioned before. But with academics, I chose my academics in a specific way. I knew what classes I had to take. I worked with my advisor. And so I made sure that this year, when I was planning my schedule, I made sure I had certain slots of time open so I would be able to operate on all levels in an efficient way. And again, it's really time management to figure out your priorities and figuring out where everything fits. It takes a second to get used to. But I think I've been able to handle it well so far. And I think it's really preparing me for the future whenever we are busy. I plan to go active in the Army, and I know everything, it's constantly changing. You have to be adaptable. And I think being in the position I am now is helping me prepare for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we got another question in the chat, and I'm going to pitch this one to Cadet Mendoza. So the question in the chat is, how did you adjust to being away from your friends and family? Of course, you're from California, and you've been here. You're on your 2nd year at the Institute. So how have you managed that adjustment of being away from your friends and family?
Okay, so being here at New Mexico, since this is a junior college, 2 years fly by very fast. So just taking it day by day. Of course, you have your academics and you have your ROTC requirements. So just calling your family here and there. And obviously, you're so busy here at NMMI with academics and ROTC. Time flies a lot faster than you think. And as time progresses during the spring, time just definitely flies in the blink of an eye, sir.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Cadet Patterson, this being your kind of first year, how have you managed it?
Yes, sir. Being my first year, it was a bit of an adjustment when I first got here. Very different than a normal school or normal life back home. But once I got adjusted and I was able to find my friend groups here, it was very easy and I had a lot more fun, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, it's interesting you talk about the friend groups. So what I'd like to do is talk about some of the ways that, cadets can be busy, as Cadet Mendoza mentioned, or get more friends and have shared common interest. So the ROTC program has 3 teams specifically that the cadets basically run themselves. They're sponsored by us, but the cadets run the teams. And so if I could, we have a slideshow presentation that I'd like to show with our specific ROTC teams or sponsored teams. So you can see here, this is a picture from our night land nav from one of those events. One of the cadets took that photo. It's an absolutely beautiful photo out here underneath the New Mexico sky. So again, it's not called the Land of Enchantment for no reason. It's an absolutely beautiful place. But we can go to the next slide. So this is the Centurion drill team. So the Centurion drill team is a college level drill team. It's been here for quite a while, but it had gone dormant through the global war on terror. And this last homecoming in 2025, and really, I got to thank Cadet Lopez because she helped really spearhead this along with the cadets themselves. They brought it back. I was a member of the Centurions, and so I couldn't have been more excited that the cadets wanted to bring back this drill team, and they've been fantastic coming together. And we'll show you a video later, and I'll let Cadet Lopez talk on that here shortly. If we can go to the next slide. So this is a specific ROTC sponsored team. It's the Ranger Challenge team. That's one of the unique things about the Ranger Challenge is you'll see the cadet in the upper right-hand corner on the screen who's carrying the Ranger Challenge guide on, or the flag there, up above his ROTC patch. So mine looks like that. He's got another little tab right there, says Ranger Challenge. And that's one of the unique tabs that is only given to ROTC cadets who participate in the Ranger Challenge team. And the Ranger Challenge team is essentially what we call the varsity sport for the senior ROTC programs. And so they'll compete at various levels to try and get to a large event called Sandhurst. And so our cadets are extremely well versed, and they do very, very well, and usually place very high, if not coming in first when they're participating in this. So we're very proud of our Ranger Challenge team. And then if we can go to the next slide. And these are the baton teams. So White Sands Missile Range puts on the Baton Memorial Death March, and that's specific to the kind of the New Mexico area, because during the Baton Death March in World War II, the vast majority of the soldiers that came from that were in the march came out of New Mexico. 200th Coastal Artillery, and I think the 515th, if memory serving me correctly. And specific for us, so we're sending 3 teams, 2 college, 1 high school, that we will send down there. They had to try out this year, so we make sure we can go down there, and we want to win because it is a 26.2 mile marathon, and it's a competition. But regardless, those cadets, they will be carrying the names of the 20 NMMI alumni who actually participated in the Baton Death March in World War II. So they will have those names, and they will carry them in remembrance. And this again helps connect those cadets, who are current cadets with the cadets of the past, and kind of where our forefathers came from, and what our alumni have done in defense of our nation, that these particular cadets are getting ready to go do here within a year to 2 years. So with that, what I'd like to do is I'm going to punt the ball over to Cadet Lopez. If you could talk to us about the Centurion drill team, kind of how it came about and kind of where things are and where you see them going.
Yeah, well, for us, how Centurion came back on started with a conversation between me and Lieutenant Colonel Harness at the at the end of last year. I mentioned Centurion, and he mentioned that he used to be a part of it, and we just started talking. And so coming into this next year, he helped us and supported us in bringing it back. We got together a team through our ROTC with our MS3s and our MS4s, and even some of the Corps of Cadets, and we just started on it. One of our main sponsors, Sergeant Gomez, was a big help in it. He helped us create our movements. We want to have some of the newer techniques, some fun things that we saw in videos, but we also want to pay homage to the past, for all those alumni who used to be part of it. We want them to see things that they haven't seen since they were cadets, to have that bit of remembrance, because we really want to honor their memory and be able to make them proud. We have started with our performances. We've been able to go out to quite a few schools, and starting next year, we're hoping to get back into competitions, bring home a few trophies.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I know the alumni are super proud you guys are back, and they've been super proud seeing your performances, and couldn't say enough nice things about you guys during homecoming. And so, given that'll be a nice dovetail. What I'd like to show is one of the recent performances of the Centurion drill team at one of the local high schools here. So if we could tee up the video of that and give that a show.
Drill team, attention!
Yeah, once again, great performance. Got a lot of positive comments. I think that was at the Veterans Day show at forget which school, but it was well done. Do you recall the school, Cadet Lopez?
I think it was Roswell High.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was the Veterans Day, and again, lots of positive comments from the veterans there, so appreciate it. Real quick, just got a message in the chat. Says, "This may sound weird, but you mentioned going to classes. Is this from a different college?" So let me kick that over to Cadet Sardo. We haven't heard you in a little bit, so if you want to take that question real quick.
Yes, sir. So going to classes, right? This is just all of classes are done here on campus at this college, and it is just like regular college, right? You go to your class, you go through your lecture, you go back, and you do any assignments for the class, right? It's just normal classes, treated like a normal college. However, there are still standards and like military standards and bearing that you have to account for while going to these classes as well. These classes are mandatory. You need to go to classes. You cannot skip classes or else you'll get something called a tour, which is just sort of, if I could explain it, is taking accountability and like sort of a punishment, I guess. You would spend a certain amount of time of your weekend to make up for the time that you missed. That's in essence what it is. Right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. No, thank you, Sardo. So yeah, so in essence, again, as Cadet Sardo mentioned, all the classes are here on the campus. They're not, they don't leave post. They stay here at NMMI proper for their classes here at the junior college. So, but with that, so I'm going to stay with you, Cadet Sardo, because you've got that special coveted Ranger Challenge tab on your shoulder. And could you please explain to us what the Ranger Challenge team is and kind of what you guys do?
Yes, sir. So again, I do own the Ranger Challenge tab. I am one of the 3 members that are still on the team from last year. It is an amazing opportunity to develop yourself both physically and knowledge-wise. We have our own separate PT in the morning, separate from squadron, where we'll be doing more demanding PT that will require more physical effort. And then we always conduct training. Now it is every Monday, but when I was in last year, when we were preparing for a competition, it's labs after school every day to refine, learn extra knowledge and extra soldier skills so that we are proficient enough to go out to this competition against schools across the entire brigade and compete against them in performing these certain soldier skills. So it's a great opportunity, and it opens up a lot of opportunities. Typically, you'll see Ranger Challenge cadets perform exceptionally well at what we call advanced camp here at the ROTC. You'll see them performing exceptionally well, and you'll see them kind of performing exceptionally well here as well on campus and in the ROTC program.
All right, no, thank you very much, Cadet Sardo. And then Cadet Patterson, you are a new member to the team, are you not? And if can you explain your experience so far and what your plans are with the team while you're here at the Institute?
Yes, sir. So I am a new member on the Ranger Challenge team. The PT is definitely more demanding. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we do PT. Thursdays is a bit longer PT for a little bit extra. And the labs on Monday, from what I can tell, definitely help. We did land nav this past Monday, and it helped me refine my skills and get better at it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So one of the things we'll do, and we do have a question in the chat, but I'm going to hold off on that for just 1 second because I'd like to tee up our Ranger Challenge video that honestly, it was one of our cadets on the Ranger Challenge team, and the team themselves put this video together. So I'd like to show that. So if we could tee up the Ranger Challenge video real quick, I'd appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you. And so, yeah, that was an excellent video put on by our awesome Rangers. They do a great job, and they always represent the Institute extremely well. We're very, very proud of them as they go out and compete basically with teams across the nation. So it's fantastic to see what they do. So got some questions in here. So first one is, what is Advanced Camp for? So what I'm gonna pitch that one over to Cadet Sardo and allow you to answer that since you completed Advanced Camp, and I'll let you answer that question. So what is Advanced Camp for?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So Advanced Camp is for the ROTC cadets. We have our two-part training to make up for our time missing basic training. We do not have to attend basic training, but in turn, we separate two trainings between two summers. One is called Basic Camp, where you learn all the general knowledge in 1 month to prepare you for and kind of give you an introduction to the Army, right? So that will be your basic training. And then later on, as you go through your MS3 year and complete your MS3 year, you will go on to summer at Summer Advanced Camp or Cadet Summer Training, CST, right? So Advanced Camp would be where you put all the things that you learn into practice, and where it turns into, rather than learning information, you're getting evaluated on what you've learned, right? So you get evaluated on what you've learned, and with this information, it'll go towards how well you score in terms of ranking as a cadet. It's pretty much putting practice into play. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of saying it. And so essentially, Advanced Camp, in an even shorter, succinct way of saying it's the final culminating training exercise that cadets execute for us, it's between their freshman and sophomore year. At a four-year university, it would be between their junior and senior year. And it's their culminating event so that they can, as Cadet Sardo said, show what they've learned, show that they've mastered the techniques and skills required to be an Army officer. And then once they've done that, they'll finish their MS4 year, and then they will commission as second lieutenants into the United States Army. So that's specifically Advanced Camp. And I'm going to dovetail that one, and I'm going to throw this one over to Mr. Garcia here. So it's question is, what, when, and how long is Basic Camp? So you want to discuss a little bit of that. I know we've had some date changes, so it's not going to be exact, but if you could expand on Basic Camp, since that's usually your wheelhouse.
Yeah, so thank you. Basic Camp is what I like to call an abbreviated basic training that prepares our cadets coming into the early commissioning program for what they're about to experience. The 4 weeks out at Fort Knox, Kentucky, give you basic soldier skills and knowledge and prepare you for ROTC in a very quick, condensed version, as opposed to going to basic training for an extended period of time. Because we're an early commissioning program and we've condensed a 4-year cycle into 2, you're missing out on the first 2 years of ROTC. And so by going to Basic Camp, you actually get credit for Military Science 1 and 2. And that's how we can jump you into a junior level ROTC class after just that 1 month at Fort Knox, Kentucky. So the way we set this up for the cadets is you work with me directly, filling out some paperwork, and we do some vetting, get you a medical physical, and we build you a profile so that we can reserve a slot for you to attend Basic Camp. The sooner we do that, the better, because the slots do fill up. There are limited slots, and not everyone gets to go. We definitely have to make sure that you're prepared physically, mentally, academically, and all those things before we can get you over to Fort Knox. But provided that all that works out for you, then we will bring you to NMMI in June, on or about the 23rd of June, and you'll spend 5 days here with your peers. We put you in boots, and we give you uniforms, give you some equipment, and some real basic information so that when you get to Fort Knox, Kentucky, your boots are broken in and you kind of know what you're doing already. The group of you will go to Fort Knox together, perform your 4 weeks of training, and then you get to go home for a couple of days just to relax, get a good meal, and then you'll report back to NMMI to where you start your semester, you start your 2 years in the early commissioning program. Hope that answers your question on that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jason. Fantastic. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to expand on that? I don't think so. All right. So the next one, though, I am going to kick over to Cadet Lopez as a 6-year cadet. I'm sure you saw this coming. So this is from the chat. I am planning to go to NMMI next year as a freshman in high school. How is the dorm life and activities?
So starting with the dorm life. Sorry. These are old barracks, so don't expect anything super fancy. However, you are choosing to go to a military school, you will be a cadet. But they're not too bad. The beds are a little old. Overall, I really enjoyed the experience. I had a great roommate. So dorm life isn't too bad. It's always being worked on, so things are always upgrading. As for the activities, coming in as a freshman, you will be very busy as a recruit for your first semester. However, we do have a lot of activities on campus. So if you like doing high ropes, anything of that sort, we have high ropes, we have board game clubs, we have literature clubs, we have gaming clubs if you're interested in esports. We really have just about everything. And if it's not here, most people would, well, if enough people are asking for it, you're able to start your own clubs. But we do have a variety of experiences here. Of course, we have our sports. So you can do in high school, football, soccer, tennis, swim, cross country. We have all of those teams available. And so really it's as far as you want to go and as good as your time management is. You're able to do as many activities as you're able to handle. Of course, keeping in mind academics in the Corps of Cadets.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And yeah, and so, yep, the barracks do tend to have a little bit of a, they've been around since, for quite a while. Let's just put it that way. I mean, you can go see the old movie Sons of New Mexico from the 1950s. You can see the old Hagerman barracks there. But NMMI is constantly renovating their buildings. They're maintaining it. This is a historical site from the state of New Mexico. And so it's constantly has its upkeep. And, from when Mr. Garcia and I were here at the Institute, there's a lot more amenities than when we were here. That's for sure. Of course, stuff like cell phones didn't exist then because we're just old. So sorry, Mr. Garcia. But with that, I'm going to dovetail that particular question and into another one. And I'm going to actually throw this one to Mr. Garcia on kind of the recruiting side. When we look at cadets coming to the ROTC program and first cadets coming to the Institute, kind of what are the misconceptions that particularly parents, cadets as well, but parents should be aware of when their cadet comes to the New Mexico Military Institute?
Okay, I'll try to pare this down because there's a myriad of different things that I hear on a regular basis. ROTC is an elective that goes into your academic work schedule, and so the Army, unless you're getting something very specific as far as a degree plan, something like legal, chaplaincy, medical, those types of things, then the Army does not really care what your degree is in. So I often hear that the Army's going to dictate that you get a specific degree, or you're only going to get a degree in military science, and that's not the case. So you get to pursue a degree plan of your choosing, and we plug in military science as an elective each semester that you're here. And that's how we get through this early commissioning program. The other part that I want to mention is that ROTC is not a try it on kind of an activity. You definitely need to have a military mind, or at least some desire to serve. And so it's not just about joining this program to get some free boots and some free money. You definitely have to have a desire to serve and to put in the hard work and the effort that the cadets have described throughout this YouTube live event so far. In that being said, I'm looking for people to fill our roster who can handle the academics. So we're going to put forth the work, use the resources we have to offer you so that you're academically successful, because that's the number one goal when you come to NMMI is to get your education. And all officers have to have a bachelor's degree, and so we're going to help get you there. I'm also looking for physically fit students who can do the physical demands that we require you to do, going to camp, going to field training exercises, going to physical fitness multiple days a week, and then staying healthy, not getting hurt. I mean, obviously we can't help some of those injuries, but if the more fit you are, then the less likely it is that you're going to get hurt. And so you definitely need to take the physical fitness into a serious consideration. If you haven't been doing physical fitness, you definitely need to be working on that immediately. And I would encourage you to take a look at the Army Physical Fitness Standards. The Army Combat or the Army Fitness Test is 5 events that you can look up and see what you need to perform in each of those events in order to be successful. And then also the height and weight requirements. And we do have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to height and weight, but you definitely need to be close. I do get cadets that are 30, as much as 100 pounds over the recommended weight for their height, and we just don't have the time for them to catch up and fall into the category that we're looking for. And so in those cases, a 4-year cycle is probably a better fit. And so as it pertains to the early commissioning program, you definitely need to have a realistic conversation with yourself if you're physically ready for this program. And then just being willing to follow instructions. Of course, you have to be a follower before you can become a leader. I think Cadet Patterson alluded to that when he talked a little while ago. And so we just ask that you absorb all the information that we're feeding and helping you to have all the answers to the test per se. We send you to basic camp, which gives you a very good idea of what you're going to expect during advanced camp. And then once we've given you a year's worth of training, you go back to advanced camp, you get evaluated on basically the same stuff, and you've had a year of preparation. And so that most of our cadets do a very good job competing with 4-year schools, and they often come out ahead. Does that help, Colonel Harness?
Yes, sir, it does. And I was going to ask if you could expand on one of the areas. You touched on that. You have to have a desire to serve to come here. And if you're trying to be in the MS3 or MS4 program, it is expedited. If you don't have that desire to serve, you're not going to survive. If you want to try it on, hey, we teach MS1 and 2 as well. You can do MS1 and 2, but don't try and come to the basic camp and go through that pipeline if you don't have a true desire to serve. But that being said, you've got some of the cadets that are preps that come to the Institute. And we've had some that were seeking to go to West Point, and they were dual tracked with the ROTC program. And when West Point fell through, they stayed and commissioned with us. So I was hoping, could you expand a little bit on that as well for us?
Yeah, that's a great segue to the dual track that we have on campus. So many of our cadets do have an interest in a service academy, whether it be the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Merchant Marine. And it is all those service academies are very competitive. And so we understand that not everyone's going to get in, not everyone is going to get selected to attend one of those academies. So we do work with students that have that interest in a dual track where they are in ROTC at the same time that they are working towards an application towards one of the academies. If they are selected for the academy, then that's great. We encourage them to take advantage of that opportunity. But if they're not selected, then they haven't missed anything as far as ROTC is concerned. And then at the end of the day, they're still going to be a commissioned officer. And in the early commissioning programs cycle that you would be in, you'd be getting that commission 2 years earlier than normal. And so we do work with cadets that have an interest and want to be give that a chance to see if they can get nominated.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And so that's going to dovetail. I'm going to go ahead and answer this question out of the chat. It says, can I do football in college and be in ROTC? Absolutely, you can. We've had cadets do that before. And right now we've got a cadet who is on the baseball team and plays baseball. It's a little hard because you got to do that work-life balance, and so they're trying to balance academics with their sports and then the ROTC program. But we work with the athletic directors and we work with their instructors to try and make sure that they got the balance and that they're achieving the requirements with the ROTC program, so we can commission them on time. So absolutely, yes, you can do that. So there's another question in the chat that I'm going to take. It's, as a junior in high school, how would you compare coming to the Institute as college versus coming in as a high schooler? And how would you compare to in and out of state? So I'm going to break that particular question up a little bit. I'm just going to punt to Cadet Lopez, who has had both experiences as both in the high school and the college. So if you can talk about the differences there, and then I'll take the other half of that question for in and out of state to some of the other cadets. So Cadet Lopez, if you could answer what it's like coming in between the high school and the college as a freshman.
Well, coming in as a high schooler, clearly you're leaving a lot of your friends. Same whenever you're coming in for college. But as a high schooler, you're coming in with a lot of people. Well, you're all going through the right experience together. You're all around the same age, and you really get a chance to develop throughout the years. The culture between high school and college is slightly different. Right now, we are split in our squadron. So we have a high school squadron and we have a college squadron. And so the culture is a little bit different on the high school side. It is a JROTC. Everyone does JROTC in high school, so be expecting that. So they are a little stricter on certain things. On the college side, we have a lot of athletes, ROTC, preps. So it's kind of reflected in its leadership. You're constantly having people gone for sports and things of that sort, but you really do get those connections on a more adult connection on that side as compared to high school. But both are pretty amazing experiences, just slightly different.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. And so for the second half of that question, it talked about the differences between in-state and out-of-state. So I'm going to go to some of the out-of-state cadets, which is the vast majority of them on the program here. So Cadet Patterson, starting with you, kind of what's it been like for you kind of coming as an out-of-state cadet and some of the challenges that you have faced and how have you overcome them?
Yes, sir. Coming in as an out-of-state cadet, there's not really a whole lot of difficulties that would compare to coming as an in-state cadet. We are still able to go on these things called permit or furloughs, which allow us to either leave for small amounts of times on weekdays or long periods of times on weekends, being in-state and out-of-state. So coming in as in-state and out-of-state, there's not really much of a difference I found.
Okay. And then I'm going to kick it over to Cadet Mendoza. If you could talk about your experience coming from California as an out-of-state cadet.
Like what Cadet Patterson said as well, we got the furlough system and we got the permit system. So I'm from California, so I'm not too far from home. So whenever I get the chance, when I'm academically cleared, I can go home as well. In the college side in particular, you meet cadets from all over the world, Korea, Japan, American Samoa, Australia, and particularly in the college side, we're all in this together to become leaders. And, some people may want to do the service academy route. Some people just want to come here to play sports. But the brotherhood you build here in the college side in particular is something that you can't take away, sir.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. And I know there's some financial concerns as well between in-state and out-of-state. And I'll let Mr. Garcia correct me if I go wrong here, and I'll even let him expand. I know in-state, there's an opportunity for cadets that can use certain scholarships provided by the state for in-state residents to help pay for coming to the Institute. And then with the ROTC program, we have the Ike Skelton Scholarship that we get X number of a year that cadets are permitted to compete for. Now, that can be in-state or out-of-state. But if you're an out-of-state cadet, competing for an Ike Skelton would be very beneficial to help pay for the school. But Mr. Garcia, if you'd like to expand a little bit on that financial side, because I know you're more well-versed in it than I am.
Yeah, so all of our cadets in the early commissioning program are coded at the in-state tuition rates. And then all of our cadets who sign an ROTC contract get the cadet stipend, which is $420 a month. And then I also ensure that all of our college cadets complete the FAFSA so that the NMMI Financial Aid Office can screen each of them for additional monies that the school controls. Now, we do have some Army ROTC scholarships, and that's where I rank order all of our applicants on an order of merit ranking, and we're taking a look at their ability to sign a contract, which includes their GPA being a very heavy weight on that order of merit ranking, their test score being ACT or SAT, their height, weight, their physical fitness, and desire. Those types of things are all looked at in a ranking so that we can allocate the few scholarships that the Army has given us to the cadets who are most deserving. And so we do our best to secure other monies through the NMMI Financial Aid Office and actually other civic organizations who give scholarship monies to college students. And so you can bring those in as well. And then we also have the simultaneous membership program, which means if you are in ROTC and you join the New Mexico Army National Guard or even in another state guard and transfer into New Mexico for your time here during the 2 years at NMMI, then you get the tuition assistance, and that also helps you pay for school while you're at NMMI. The last 2 years of your college experience, after you leave NMMI, then you are going to be in a guard or reserve unit where you participate 1 weekend a month as a lieutenant. You're getting paid as a lieutenant for those days, and you can use their tuition assistance as well, where in whatever state that you attend college to finish those last 2 years. The Army's also kicked in what they call the Education Assistance Program, EAP, and that pays either tuition, which you probably won't need if you're using tuition assistance, but you can use the EAP to pay your room and board for those last 2 years of college. So the way we map it out is that you'll probably be able to get through NMMI and your last 2 years of college with little to no debt, and hopefully save your GI Bill to be able to use for your master's degree. So hopefully that answers some of the financials. I would rather not us dig too deep into financials on the Zoom call, and so we can talk about those individually when we meet and discuss your plan to join ROTC.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Yeah, that's a great overview. And every individual cadet has a different situation, and so the only way to get those particular questions answered are really to apply to the New Mexico Military Institute and talk to the appropriate people, particularly the financial aid office, to assist you with that. And we can help a little bit, but they are going to be your primary conduit for helping cadets at least manage your ability to get into the institute. So, but appreciate the overview. That was a great overview of the benefits of the program. So there's a quick question in here. It says, so what is the required weight for 6 foot, requiring specifically to the height and weight standards? That's a very complicated question these days. So the Department of War has instituted a waist to height ratio, and essentially there's a spreadsheet with all the different heights for soldiers and service members in the military, and they take a standardized tape test around the weight, and if you meet what they call the left and right limits of either 18% or 26% for at least for the males, I know that off the top of my head. It's 28% for females. I don't recall specifically, but there's a matrix for it. You fall within that, and then you're good. And so the weight's not as much of a deal because now it's a waist to height ratio in accordance with the Department of War. And so that answers that particular question.
And Colonel Harness, I'll just add in there, if they're not trying to navigate the height weight ratio, 190 pounds is what's on the chart for a 6 foot tall cadet at that age group.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have the chart in front of me, so I appreciate that, Mr. Garcia. So we got a question on, and I'm just going to leave this one. I know I said I wouldn't do any open-ended questions to the cadets, but I don't know this one off the top of my head. I'm willing to bet Cadet Lopez knows it, but how is the volleyball team here at NMMI? I think they're doing super well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, no, the volleyball team, they've done amazing this year. They've been winning their games like crazy. And I'm speaking on the college side for this. Our high school team has been doing good as well, but our junior college team has really took off this year. We've been at their home games, and each time they never fail. They keep motivation up, and they have been winning, and they're continuing to go for it. I want to say they've gone to nationals. Don't quote me on that, but they were doing extremely well this year.
Awesome, thank you. So, and then there's one, I'll try and field this one just because it's a little more complicated and it's more in the PMS / Mr. Garcia Rue realm. So the question is, if for some reason a cadet does not finish on time, is there an opportunity to finish in the fall semester and graduate and commission in December? So I'm going to give the old field grade Army officer answer of it depends. It depends on the status of the cadet and what they've got going on. So yes, it's possible for that to happen, but the cadets basically got to be in good standing. Now, I'll tell you right now, usually something might occur that gets in the way that'll cause something like that to happen, i.e. missing classes, they haven't made enough, they haven't got enough points in order to graduate on time, or just life has gotten in the way and we may have had to do a leave of absence or something for the cadet as well. So it's very specific and it's hard to give a general statement to that because, again, every situation is going to be different and have different things that apply to it. If the cadet's not in good standing, not likely going to happen. Cadet's in good standing, but something has occurred, things can be worked out. Other times we'll have to disenroll a cadet and they can go on to a 4-year university. That's occurred as well. Those are other types of options that happen when it comes to whether or not they finish that way. Now you'll have some cadets will graduate in the fall. That's not because they are delayed, but it's because they came in as what the cadets will usually call them a half rat, but they'll come in at the spring semester. And so just their commissioning cycle is off from the standard cycle that begins in the fall. So a normal cycle starts in the fall, goes through the year, goes to advanced camp, goes another year, graduates in the spring. If they're a spring start cadet, then they will end up commissioning in the fall of their 2 years there. And that's just because when they started, they're off cycle from the rest of the program. So, but no harm, no foul, commission's the same. That's all, no issues with that. And what we do and what my responsibility actually is I have to review every cadet's academic record, not just for grades, but to make sure that they're actually hitting the amount required so they can graduate on time. And then I'll address it with the cadet if they have any particular issues that they're not going to meet the requirements. We'll have a discussion about making sure they're meeting the standard so they can commission on time. So that's the answer to that question. So, okay, so we're getting close to ending here. I think I'll ask, 1 or 2 more questions of the cadets because just like having you guys chat. So, show this one to Cadet Sardo. What does commissioning mean to you personally? What does it mean for you to get your commission this year?
Yes, sir. So commissioning to me personally, right, is a huge goal and a huge leap in my career. For me personally, when you commission, you will move on as a second lieutenant into a unit in the Army, and you will command a certain platoon or work a certain shop and contribute to a platoon in the Army. For me, it's just I'm here because I want to serve in the United States Army, and more specifically in this program, I want to lead. I want to do thinking and commission as a second lieutenant and grab the opportunity to develop my career as much as possible. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I appreciate that, Cadet Sordo. So there's a question in here, and I'm going to use it to dovetail into another question to kind of work it together. It says, is there an opportunity to go active duty after graduating? So I'm going to kick that over to Cadet Lopez and say, can you answer that question? And then how is that possible? And what are your plans after graduating?
So it's definitely a possibility. I myself plan to go active. However, it's not after graduation from NMMI. After we graduate from NMMI, we'll go on into a National Guard unit or reserve, depending on what we choose. But we're able to, after we graduate with our bachelor's, compete for active with the current MS2 year. Since again, we're doing it in 2 years instead of 4, we would compete our junior year at our follow-on school for active duty. Just while we're here, you'd have to get your GRFD revoked, which is your Guaranteed Reserved Force Duty. Essentially to say you do want to be for active. And again, that's what I plan to do. I've already had mine revoked, and I want to, in the next couple of years, compete for an armor spot. And so there's opportunity. You just have to stay competitive. So keep your grades up. Make sure your OML, which is our order of merit list, is high. You can do this by participating in activities, getting leadership opportunities. Any little activities will help get you a couple extra points towards that OML. And as long as you're competitive, going active is a very real possibility.
Can I jump in there, Colonel Harness?
Yes, sir.
So the short answer is yes, it is possible to go to active duty, and Cadet Lopez nailed it as far as the process. Now, I will share that going active duty is at needs of the Army each year. And so during their senior year, and they're being looked at for active duty selections, needs of the Army is a big consideration through the accessions process. And accessions is basically a wish list where each cadet or lieutenant at that point will put together what they want, what component they want, active, guard, reserve. They also get to put on there what branch they are requesting. And then if they are selecting active duty, they get to, I believe they get to rank order their duty location preferences. And then the Army will try to bounce those off based on the order of merit ranking. Order of merit ranking is exactly like Cadet Lopez listed off, with GPA being very heavily weighted. So keep that in mind. Now, what I tell all the cadets is if they are not selected for active duty the first go around during their senior year in college, the game's not over. And so they will go into a guard or reserve unit where they can request a transfer from one branch to another. It just takes a little bit longer, but I have experience in all three branches. I started out in the guard, went active duty, went back to reserve, and then also did some active duty time after that as well. So over my 30-year career, I have been in all three components. And so the short answer is yes, it is possible to go to active duty.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So we're almost going to wrap up here, but I wanted to ask Cadet Patterson a question. You've been here, got a semester going. And so the question I'd like to ask you is, what kind of physical and mental preparation should an ECP cadet do prior to coming to the New Mexico Military Institute?
Yes, sir. So physical, you definitely want to practice your running. We do a lot of running here, especially on the Ranger Challenge team. We do a lot of running. And for the regular Army, we do a lot of running too. We have to pass our physical test every month. This consists of a 2-mile run and a couple other events. So I would definitely recommend working on your running and working on your push-ups and just any other thing that could build strength and endurance. The mental things you want to build is you want to build toughness mentally, because waking up at 4:30 multiple times throughout the week isn't always easy. So you always want to push yourself to better yourself every day. At home, you can already practice waking up early, which will help prepare for today. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Cadet Patterson. So I'm going to wrap this up here shortly with one other question for the last two cadets. It'll be the same question for both of them. I'll re-ask it again after you answer. So for Cadet Sardo, basically in a few short sentences, how has your time here at the New Mexico Military Institute changed you and how you view your trajectory for your life after NMMI?
Yes, sir. So how NMMI has changed me, I have learned so much about myself while I've been here. It has not been a smooth ride for me. It has been very bumpy, to say the least. I've gone through the low points. You definitely have to be on top of everything. Like I said, you have to be very self-oriented and self-driven. So I suffered the events of myself losing that motivation, but I was able to pick myself back up, and I learned a lot about myself in terms of dedication and commitment along the way. And then in terms of career, I'm here to develop my career and serve the United States Army, sir.
Cool. Hey, thank you, Cadet Sardo. And so for Cadet Mendoza, same question. How has your time here at the New Mexico Military Institute, changed you, and then how you view your trajectory for your career and your life post New Mexico Military Institute?
Coming to NMMI, sir, I never realized how strong the alumni community is, especially from Southern California, loaded with NMI alumni. And hearing their stories, their time as a cadet definitely affected me, knowing that if they did it as well, so can I. I have a commission to accomplish this year, so when I first came here, NMMI definitely humbled me and tested me as a man. But as long as you show up at the right place, right time, right uniform, you'll be good to go, sir.
Hey, thanks, Mendoza. I appreciate it. And thank you again for everyone for being on, from all the cadets and Mr. Garcia, from all the folks helping us put this on, from the New Mexico Military Institute itself and the admissions office for allowing us this opportunity to share our program. How proud we are of not just the cadets in the program, but all the cadets who are participating in our various teams and those who are just coming to the New Mexico Military Institute. We're proud to celebrate 135 years of NMMI tradition this year, and then 105 years of cavalry tradition, specifically for the Gary Owen Squadron here in the senior ROTC program. So yeah, appreciate everybody joining us. Appreciate all the wonderful questions that we had tonight. If you have any further questions about the ROTC program here at the New Mexico Military Institute and what it's like to be in the ROTC program, or if you want to start your path, in the chat, you'll see the contact information. You can go and contact Mr. Garcia. He is our recruiting officer for the program. Again, he's also an alumni and a retired colonel, so he's got a wealth of information to help you. His phone number is 575-624-8292, or you can contact him at what you can see at the email, jgarcia@nmmi.edu. And if you just want to explore the New Mexico Military Institute, and you can click to the links that'll get you to the ROTC program. You just go to nmmi.edu and you can find a lot of your information there. And Mr. Garcia has put a lot of information about the ROTC program and what it takes to join there as well. So again, thank you everyone for participating with us tonight. We hope it was informative for you. Again, happy birthday to the Gary Owen Squadron. We had our birthday again in January, so very proud of that. And always remember that here at the New Mexico Military Institute, it's where duty leads to honor and honor becomes achievement. Thank you all very much and have a great night.